So I wonder if this Book of Daedra... So I did read a book written from the Daedra, but this is a different one, I think. The Book of Daedra. These are excerpts from the lengthy tome describing the nature of each of the Daedra. Oh, this is all the Daedric gods. Okay, interesting. I haven't read this in a while. I think I read this back in Imperial City when Father Matthias Andis was still alive and I was living with him. Azura, whose sphere is dusk and dawn, the magic in between realms of twilight, known as Moonshadow, Mother of the Rose, and Queen of the Night Sky. She is definitely my favorite of all the Daedra. Boethia, whose sphere is deceit and conspiracy, and the secret plots of murder, assassination, treason, and unlawful overthrow of authority. Yeah, I don't really like Boethia. Clavicus Vile, whose sphere is the granting of power and wishes through ritual invocations and pact. I have his helm. Hermaeus Mora, whose sphere is scrying of the tides of fate, of the past and future, as read in the stars and heavens, and in whose dominion are the treasures of knowledge and memory. I don't know much about that Daedric god. Hircine, whose sphere is the hunt, the sport of Daedra, the great game, the chase, known as the huntsman and the father of man-beasts. Now, Hircine's more of a neutral Daedra. Doesn't really do bad things and definitely doesn't do good things. He's all about his werebeasts. They're his children to him. All I really know is that he wants the sport of the hunt, so he will make it sporting, so he won't cheat, and because that would go against everything that he believes in. So, yeah, glad I've never encountered a lot of these Daedra, just really Azura. Malakath, whose sphere is the patronage of the spurned and ostracized, the keeper of sworn oath and the bloody curse. Now, Malakath was the god that was voided, or became Malakath, out of it was previously Trinimac and was voided by Boethia. Lovely. Maroon's Dagon, whose sphere is destruction, change, revolution, energy, and ambition. Now, funny enough, this god, Maroon's Dagon, is seen mostly as an evil-type god, but for some who want revolution and change, they see him as a savior. It's very strange. He has 4 arms. He's very much about destroying the current establishment that one would live in. Mephala. Yes, I know Mephala well. She's one of the so-called good Daedra, along with Boethia, which is a bit of a joke. Mephala is a murderer. Mephala, whose sphere is obscure to mortals, known by the names Web Spinner, Spinner, and Spider, whose only consistent theme seems to be interference in the affairs of mortals for her amusement. Usually, getting her Morag Tong to do assassinations for her. Meridia, whose sphere is obscure to mortals, who is associated with the energies of living things. Molag Bal, whose sphere is the domination. This is the worst. If you ask me, this is the worst. And the second worst is Boethia. Molag Bal is the most evil of all Daedra. Whose sphere is the domination and enslavement of mortals, whose desire is to harvest the souls of mortals and to bring mortals' souls within his sway by spreading seeds of strife and discord in the mortal realms. This doesn't describe him as being the prince of well, it does say domination. But vampires. Vampires are basically his children, as all werebeasts are to Hircine. Now, Namira, whose sphere is the ancient darkness, known as the spirit Daedra. I know basically nothing of this one. Ruler of sundry dark and shadowy spirits, associated with spiders, like Mephala, insects, slugs, and other repulsive creatures, which inspire mortals with an instinctive revulsion. Nocturnal, whose sphere is the night and darkness, who is known as the night mistress. Now, Nocturnal... Isn't the Ring of Khajiit from Nocturnal, or is that from Azura? Or is it from another one? Anyways, Nocturnal, when I was with the Thieves Guild in Imperial City, they don't really talk about her here, but in Imperial City, she's spoken of a lot by the thieves, but more as just like almost a whisper of a prayer if you need to be hidden, and you would say something like, Nocturnal, hide me. Or, not Nocturnal, Shadow Hide Me, which refers to Nocturnal. Periite, whose sphere is the ordering of the lowest orders of oblivion, known as the Taskmaster. This isn't very comprehensive. Periite is the Daedric god of disease. Some people worship Periite as like a nature god, along with Hircine, the god of the hunt. Because period is the natural, like disease is the natural order, I guess they view if things get too out of hand with population growth, disease will help to reduce it. So, sanguine, whose sphere is hedonistic revelry and debauchery, and passionate indulgences of darker natures. I'm all for revelry and maybe a little debauchery, but indulgences of the darker natures? Yeah, not really, because I know where that leads. Sheogorath, whose sphere is madness and whose motives are unknowable. Yeah. I am a little bit intimidated by Sheogorath. I've read some stories that are just really, really bizarre. And a little scary. Vermina, whose sphere is the realm of dreams and nightmares, and from whose realm issues forth evil omens. Especially marked for special interests under the heading Malakath, I find a reference to Scourge, blessed by Malakath, and dedicated to the use of mortals. In short, the reference suggests that any Daedra attempting to invoke the weapon's powers will be expelled into the void streams of oblivion. Oh. Reference to Scourge, blessed by Malakath. I don't know what that item would be. Of the legendary artifacts of the Daedra, many are well known, like Azura's Star, which I have. Sheogorath's Wabajak, I don't want that. Others are less well known, like Scourge, Makhan's Hammer, Bane of Daedra. Yet though Malakath blessed Scourge to be potent against his Daedric kin, he thought not that it should fall into Daedric hands, than to serve as a tool for a private war among Caitiff and Forsaken. Are these types of Dremora? Caitiff sounds familiar. I could be wrong. Thus did Malakath curse the device such that, should any dark kin seek to invoke its powers, that a void should open and swallow that Daedra, and purge him into oblivion's void streams, from thence to pathfind back to the real and unreal worlds in the full order of time. We missed Meridia. Meridia is not here. Oh. I did read that. Meridia, whose sphere is obscured by mortals, who is associated with the energies of living things. Yes, Meridia is actually seen, some see her as a good Daedra. If you are fighting undead, she will be on your side. She's very much against undead, so like she's associated with the energies of living things. But there are stories of her doing horrible things as well, but she is a Daedra. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.